Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot for August 13th. Friday the 13th. Interesting. Okay, so I was, as I'm known to do, just hanging out and asking some questions of my handy dandy pendulum. And I was getting some really interesting answers, so I thought to myself, Cindy, why don't you just turn on your camera and share the answers? So we have a Let's Ask the Pendulum segment coming up here. Okay, so for those of you who may be new to this channel, the pendulum and I have a very tight, close relationship. It responds very quickly, and it typically is actually quite accurate. So pendulum, show me that you're ready to speak, and you can see that this thing moves side to side. And pendulum, please show me yes. And you'll see it'll slow down. And it's now moving back and forth. And pendulum, show me no. And it goes in a circular motion. You may see some slight vibration to my hand. That is energy. It's not me, okay? So let's just start with a bit of a pendulum blitz, shall we? So where do I want to start? Let's start with Joe Biden. Is Joe Biden going to be able to complete his term as president? Yes. Okay. Is Donald Trump actually going to end up running for president in 2024? And that seems to be a pretty strong no. Okay. Is that going to be because of or in part that he is under criminal indictment? Yes, it is. Okay. Are the Democrats going to increase their majority in the House as a result of the midterm elections? Yes. Is the Democrat Senate going to increase their majority as a result of the midterm elections? And that's also a big yes. Is Kevin McCarthy ever going to be Speaker of the House? No. Is Mitch McConnell going to be Majority Senate Leader again? And that's a no. Are the Democrats, the federal Democrats, going to hold any significant positions of power in the next 6 years? No. And federally speaking, are the Republicans going to hold any significant positions of power in the next 10 years? No. And I do know that I said quite a while ago that the Republicans were going to be sort of blocked out, but for a decade. So we'll see if that comes true. Okay, so there is, let's take a look at Florida, shall we? Is DeSantis actually going to make good on his ridiculous threat to impact school pay or school funds or teachers' pay for kind of enforcing a mask kind of rule within the schools? Is he actually going to be able to proceed with that? That's a no. Is DeSantis, at this point, does it look like he is going to win re-election for the governor's seat? No. Is Val Deming in a good position to win the governorship? Yes. So I just saw something interesting. Apparently in Florida, I think DeSantis has something like a 34% approval rating, but Joe Biden has a 48.8% approval rating. So there's that. Speaking of those southern states, Reverend Warnock, is he going to be able to hold on to his seat? Okay, so I'm getting a strong yes for that, and I know there's a lot of talk about, it being kind of up for grabs and it's sort of risky. Okay, I don't know when Abbott is up for re-election, so I'm going to ask a bit of a more general question. Is Texas Governor Abbott putting any re-election ideas or attempts in jeopardy with his behavior regarding COVID? Yes. Okay. Is he losing the support of the people in Texas? Yes. Okay. Is where do I want to go from now? Oh, Gavin Newsom in California, that governor, is he going to be able to hold on to his seat? And that's also a yes. It's so interesting because sometimes you listen to the news and you think, no, it can't be. This is going to blow up. And yet the pendulum is so forceful in its answers. So, we shall see, right? Is there going to be any sort of significant insurrection behavior in the middle of August, particularly the 13th to 15th, which is what they have been sort of talking about, the pillow guy, No. Okay. Is there going to be any insurrection type protests or rioting in September? Yeah, that's a yes. And I did get that exact answer before. Okay, so having said that, is this going to take place in Washington? Yes. Okay. Is it likely to take place anywhere else in the city, any other major cities within the country? That's a no. Okay. Is that activity mid-September, is that going to be bigger than what you witnessed in January? No, it's not. No, it's not. Is there going to be any loss of life as a result of what goes on there? Okay, no. So that's like, thank God and good news. Are not only the Capitol Police, but local police forces going to be well equipped and ready for anything that happens? Yes. Okay. Apparently, it's actually a really small number. Something like 29% of Republicans actually support any sort of a, throwing Biden out of office and reinstating Trump. Now, granted, some 60 some odd percent still think that the, Biden is in office because of, voter fraud. But the number of people who are actually willing to kind of jump up in arms about it, that doesn't seem to be so strong anymore. Are Ivanka and or Jared going to find themselves in legal jeopardy? Pendulum, stop. I know you're excited. Are Ivanka or Jared going to find themselves in any sort of significant legal jeopardy before, October, November, like that? Yes, so that's coming. All right. Let's take a peek. Mark Meadows. So there's a lot of chatter about him because, he continues apparently to sort of behave as if he is Trump's chief of staff. So is Mark Meadows going to be called to testify? Yes. So then the next obvious question is he going to be successful in avoiding testifying? Is he going to be able to wiggle out of that? No, he's not. No, he's not. Okay. Is what's going on, what people are hearing in the various committees, because there's so many committees investigating so much stuff. It's honestly kind of hard to keep track, right? I mean, you've got the Justice Committee or whatever they're called, they're investigating, and you've got the Select Committee, and you've got House and Ways and Means. Like, you got all kinds of different areas looking into stuff. So cumulatively, when all of this is said and done, are the American people actually going to have a pretty good, clear picture of exactly what went on during the Trump presidency and the 2020 election? Are they going to finally get some clarity and some answers? Yes. Is the Department of Justice investigating key political players quietly and that we do not know about? Are there investigations going on against people perhaps like Mark Meadows, etc., that we just don't know about yet? Yes. Is the Justice Department I don't know how to phrase this, sort of ultimately, is it going to do right by the American people who want to ensure that that sort of behavior is made an example of so that it minimizes the risk of it happening again? Is the Department of Justice going to ultimately succeed in that endeavor? Yes. Okay. So is what's going on in the Department of Justice sort of still, is it quieter, I guess, than we would like? Yeah. Okay. And that in part, I'm sure, is because the Department of Justice really does have that policy of, not discussing things while they're still under investigation. Okay. And, I know Hillary Clinton, I know, Joe Biden Jr., or whatever his son, Hunter Biden. Okay, I get that. But I'm just saying that they appear to be following the rules, if you will. Is there going to be some sort of a strong federal response to protect voting rights before the midterms? Yes. Yes. Okay. I saw the other day, let's see now, that Marjorie Taylor Greene had her, I guess, Twitter account suspended for a week because she was lying. I believe Marco Rubio's was suspended. I could have that wrong, but it was one of those, sort of outspoken Republicans who, cluck around behind Donald Trump. So, they're not getting away with sort of the ridiculous, baseless falsehoods. Are people in Florida sort of likely to continue practicing safe measures when it comes to self-protection, whether that is masks or whatever it is, social distancing, are those people who understand the science, are they going to sort of continue to take care of themselves as best they can? Yes. Because they're all really, really aware that the government is not doing it for them because, of course, DeSantis has his own agenda, which frankly is going to fail, right? I mean, that's what kills me, right? He's doing this and apparently is completely oblivious to the writing on the wall. Oh, just as this kind of interesting aside, is so Canadian, for Canadian viewers, is Justin Trudeau likely to call a fall election? Is that something that's likely to happen? Yes. So one of the kind of crazy things that can happen in Canada is the Prime Minister can actually ask for the government to be dissolved so that they can have an election, and they can do it sort of at any point, I guess, prior to kind of the end of the term. Okay, so Trudeau has actually a ways yet to get to the end of the term. The reason they tend to do that is because if they're popular and they're sort of riding a wave, they want to get reelected for another term while that wave is still riding. And so then the next question is Justin Trudeau going to remain the Prime Minister of Canada following that election? Yes. Okay. And two more quick Canadian questions. Doug Ford of Ontario, is he going to be reelected whenever his reelection comes up, based on the way he has handled things in the last couple of years? Is he going to actually win any kind of a reelection bid? No. Jason Kenney in Alberta, is he likely to win a reelection bid? No. Okay. I'm also going to ask about Manitoba, and I must say I don't even know the premier's name in Manitoba, but so I'll just ask it this way. The premier of Manitoba, is he going to face some challenges in terms of getting reelected? And that's also a yes. Okay, so it looks like those people who like to, follow the king in Florida are going to find themselves in kind of some serious, political trouble. Okay. Are people in New York likely to be pleased with the woman whose name I can't remember, who will be replacing Andrew Cuomo? Or are they going to be kind of good with her? Yeah, yeah. So it looks, so then the next, is she going to do a good job, and is she going to be able to move past the sort of sexist nonsense that goes on or has gone on? So she's going to be able to move that state forward. So yes, that's good to know. Okay. Are the two brothers of the king, Don and Eric, are they also in significant legal jeopardy, whether that is civil or federal or criminal, I guess? Yes, they are. Okay, so everybody's having trouble. Oh, here's a good one. Is Rudy Giuliani ever likely to get his law license back? Yeah, that's a big no. Okay. Dominion voting machines have also issued new lawsuits. I think that's not quite the right word, but you know what I'm saying. Against that one. There's two really, really hyper-conservative television networks, and they have again issued the same sort of I think it's $7 or $8 billion lawsuit against them for lies that they're telling about voting machines. Are those lawsuits collectively going to actually be successful? Yes, they are. Yes, indeedy, they are. Okay, well, that's good to know. Okay. I can hear you kind of shouting questions at me, but I can't make out the questions. Just give me a second. I just want to see if there's anything else that springs into my head so that we can ask the pendulum these questions. Any more questions? Generally speaking, is it fair to say that both Canada and the United States are experiencing a fourth wave? Yes. Okay. Okay, hi. I just need to pause recording because somebody was coming in the house and that was going to be loud. Okay, so even with that pause, I still didn't come up with any other questions that I really, really want to ask right now. So I think we're going to close out the pendulum for now. Certainly, you know, I've done enough readings on several other political types. You know, there was a Mo, and there was a Matt, and there was a Lauren, and there was a Marjorie, and so those readings are, you know, so recent that I don't know that anything significant has changed. So I just want to I'm just going to do a very, very general question here, and just a quick one. I just sort of want to kind of like get any messages that Spirit would like to pass on at this time to the good people of the United States. Oh my God, that reminds me. I have to share this with you. So my daughter, my youngest daughter, works as a server at a restaurant. And of course, as you know, the Canadian border opened up to American visitors like 2 days ago or something. So anyway, she comes home from work last night and she's telling me about these couple that came in from the States. Okay, so given the fact that the border's a fair bit away, they would have driven probably about 6 hours, maybe 5.5, 6 hours to get from the US border up to where we live. It might be a bit less than that, but not much. So anyways, they sat down at the table and my daughter went over to them and she said, would you like anything to drink? And they immediately attacked and said, well, why don't you have, you know, water on the table like we do in America? Okay, so for any of you American visitors who might be coming on over, this is the reason. Quite a while ago, Canada, sort of as a whole, made a decision to conserve not only the water, but the energy that gets used up by putting water glasses at a table that are either completely ignored or, you know, somebody takes a couple of sips out of them while they're waiting for their coffee or their soft drink or whatever to show up. So the decision was made that, you know, if you want water, by all means, ask for it. They'll throw lemon in there, they'll throw lime in there, whatever you want. But they're not just going to put it out so that then, when the water isn't get wasted, but also neither is the electricity and the detergent and et cetera, et cetera. So I just thought I would share that with you because she came home and she was just like shaking her head, you know. So, there's differences between the two countries. God almighty. Okay. Quick question. What would Spirit like to share with us at this point in time? Okay, here we go. Come on down. Okay, so Spirit. Message for Americans. Message for Americans. Message for Americans. Here we go. Okay, so let's start here. So what you have is a very loud minority who refuses to face facts. They refuse to listen to science. They don't want to hear it. And this is the thing. They're just obstinate and stubborn at this point, okay? It's not, literally, if a Democrat came up to them and said the sky is blue, they would say it sure as hell not, it's purple. Okay, so at this point, it really is about just, if you're not of my political tribe, you've got nothing to say that I want to hear. And that really is putting, the country in some jeopardy. And listen, you guys are not the only country with that kind of attitude rolling around the edges, okay? So you're not alone. But what's happening is it looks like the majority are really starting to step up. And they're starting to say, you know what, listen up. You guys are the minority. You're wrong. And we are not going to allow you to continue to threaten our lives, our livelihood, and our safety as a community. And so what you're going to see going forward is some fairly significant pushback against some of the nonsense, okay, for lack of a better word. They are just completely reluctant to look inside, look internally. Apparently, by the way, Marco Rubio was out today saying, it's a good thing to get vaccinated. So, they're changing their tunes because I think they're starting to realize that they're really endangering their voting base, for the love of God. But by and large, they don't want to look. And for some of them, part of the reason they don't want to look is because they would then have to really recognize to what degree they were duped, to what degree they were conned and taken advantage of. And so what you're dealing with is just a segment of the population that just doesn't want to. But unlike what has gone on for the last 6 months or 8 months, what you're going to see now is people pushing back and saying that's enough. That is absolutely enough. There are laws, there are rules, and rules are going to be followed. And even if that breaks down to government buildings or certain business establishments saying, I'm sorry, if you don't have proof of vaccination or a mask, you're not coming in the door. Okay, so it definitely looks like that's going to go on. And you're also going to continue to see sort of the federal government stepping in and continuing to do everything in their power, not only to encourage these people, but more to continue putting safeguards in place as they can. Okay, so all is not lost. All is not lost. Those people ultimately are hurting themselves. What is it? Something like 94% of the people who are being infected have not had the shot. So you don't want that to happen. You want everybody to be on board with keeping themselves and their families and their community safe. But unfortunately, it appears as if, there are going to be souls lost. It's just as simple as that. There is a sort of an energy of trying to stabilize. Stabilize with common sense, stabilize with normalcy. Is that a word? Just, trying to get things back to something that resembles something that is normal. Certainly, your job numbers are up. So, slowly but surely, things are starting to turn around. So, also, good news, okay? There's lots of assessing going on. And you know what? This is the thing. It's not only assessments that are being done on all kinds of levels, right? Political, medical, government, schools. There's also assessments going on individually, on kind of on a person by person basis. One of the things that this last situation for the last, year and a half or however long it's been, um, one of the things that happened is it sort of allowed a lot of people to just take a breath, step back, and kind of assess. And what you're finding is there's a lot more people who are looking for an alternative. They're looking for something different than what they had before. Maybe they want a better job. Maybe they want more education. Maybe they've decided to just gently shove some really toxic people out of their life. Maybe they've decided there are some people that they weren't all that close to that they discovered they really missed when they weren't around. So this is a time of shifting and changing, broadly speaking. And of course, not only in the United States, that same behavior is going on globally because there were some really harsh truths that had to be faced. And that quiet time, that alone time, that sort of time where we had to be still, really, really allowed for people to kind of evaluate and wonder if they really were living kind of their best life. And for a lot of people, they came to the conclusion that, you know what, they really weren't. Also, during this period of time, you have had an increase in addiction behavior, mental health issues. And so those things also have sort of bubbled up. And as things stabilize, hopefully you're going to see a significant response in terms of trying to correct some of these issues that honestly kind of were pushed to the wayside because there was something else more deadly going on. Okay, but from what I can see here, it's like there's help coming. It may not be instantaneous, but there is help coming. Okay, so that's a good thing. And there's going to be funds coming, and whether that is on a state level, a provincial level, a federal level, but it looks like governments are going to be starting to pay attention to this dynamic and, putting some money where their mouth is. One of the things that is going to be realized over the next coming days and weeks and months is exactly how close the United States came to actually losing their democracy. They're going to come to understand exactly how close he was to actually succeeding in completely trashing the country. But again, with that awareness comes strength, comes wisdom. And there's a push for new laws, new behaviors to strengthen the guardrails. And, I have to tell you, this is not the time for you guys to rest. This is not the time for you to retreat. This really, really is the time for you to push ahead and, hound your government officials and hound whoever else you need to hound and make sure that they understand that changes need to take place. And as an official that has been elected, thereby hired, they need to get cracking and do what they need to do because it really is time for there to be some emotional stability and tranquility and calmness so that the country can heal and move forward. And moving forward is exactly what it wants to do. The vast majority of you are really, really ready to not put this behind you, because there's so many lessons that have to be learned from that experience, but to productively, consciously move forward. Okay? And Spirit wants you to know you have the fire, you have the passion, you have the intelligence, you have the capacity to literally manifest the change you want to see. Stop worrying about it. Stop being scared. Stop feeling like you don't know what direction you're going in, and start looking forward to creating a new reality with a strong government in place that is actually going to bring you the prosperity, the healing, and the forward momentum into a much brighter future. Now listen, this doesn't come without hard work, but it's there for you. And so it definitely feels like this is the time to take a big breath and get moving. You can do it. And together, not only state by state or country by country, but globally, we can rise above the problems, and we can find solutions that are good for all. Okay, so that's what I know today. Have a wonderful weekend. According to what I'm seeing, nothing crazy is likely to happen this weekend. That symposium, I suspect, is going to fall flat on its butt. So just enjoy. We're kind of moving towards the tail end of summer, so enjoy the weather, enjoy, whatever pleasures there are to be enjoyed, do so. Take care of yourselves. Be well. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.